is not present, and Member Perez is on the teams, so she is present. And am I missing anyone else? No, I think that's it. Okay, Superintendent Davis, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time today. I know it's really important for us to really talk about the strategic plan, as our strategic plan will act as a blueprint as we seek to provide a world-class education to every one of our learners every single day within Hillsborough County. So today's overall objective will be to really identify the needs for a new strategic plan, as the last one, previous strategic plan was from 2015 to 2020. Discuss how we propose strategic plan was developed. Also review the areas of focus, the core values, along with the specific goals that we've identified in order to lift the overall instructional experience every single day for our learners, and also to further process to protect and continue to create the best working conditions for our employees, and also review how we've embedded the objectives for this proposed strategic plan, and really identify how and whom we've interacted with to be able to get this insight, to be able to create a proposal to each of you for review and feedback today. And then the last part is really to get feedback, is to talk about, what we want to do related to the overall core values, how we want to look at our big areas of focus, and really drill down to these initiatives and our projects, and then look at a potential scorecard of how we set it up in order to have momentum moving forward as we begin to close out this school year, but then start to put in place new areas of focus as we seek to become a top 20 school district, not only in the state of Florida, but throughout the nation as well. So, we know that in 2015, 2020, the board did a really nice job with prior leadership and staff to create a vision and a mission. This was all holistically to be able to prepare students for life. And then overall, with the mission is to make certain that we prepare students to excel, to become successful inside the classrooms, but at the same time being able to be responsive citizens. As we move forward, overall, our mission should become and focus on, as I said earlier, becoming and creating a world-class education that prepares students to become successful in college and career readiness, to be able to be culturally competent, to make certain that they are civically connected and truly equipped to be successful in the future. And in the 2015-2020 priorities that were established, one thing that Hillsborough County did a really nice job is make graduation a central focus. The 90 by 20 was a clever initiative. It really focused on making certain that children had an opportunity to be successful through looking at academic histories, leveraging college and career counselors, and really being able to make certain that they had the pathway through a student progression plan in order to be successful. And then being able to make certain that we communicate with stakeholders, strengthen our relationships from the school district in the community, and really build that trust that we seek to do in order to make certain that every one of our constituents know that we have grounded initiatives. We have those that will push our children to be successful. And at the last one, being able to make certain that we are good stewards of every dollar and every cent financially to put us in a healthy situation. You will see a lot of these elements will be transitioning to the new proposed plan, because these are areas of focus that should continue. We need to continue our work upon, and they are very important for us to become a premier school district within the state of Florida. So, overall, we need to discuss what drives a strategic plan, what drove this process with this team. You see there's a number of team members here today, and they all have played an active role, and my hat's off to each of you for your continued commitment and your efforts to roll your sleeves up and help us, because this is really the blueprint of how we obtain success. So overall, the foundational piece was directly linked to closing the achievement gap. We know, and we continue to talk about academically, how the achievement gap continues to be exacerbated. Let's talk about pre-pandemic. It was really majorly exacerbated for students of color, social economic status students related to core competencies outlined by the Florida standards. We see major discrepancies, and this is directly linked to a publication that came out in 2018 by the New Teacher Project labeled The Opportunity Myth. And the Opportunity Myth, what this is, if you haven't had a chance to, anyone, if you're watching today, haven't a chance to go into and interact with this executive summary, it is one that has some really true foundational skills about how you have a recipe that leads to success. And overall, there was 5 buckets that the Opportunity Myth kind of identified. And the first one was all about our students to be able to have big and clear plans. Every one of our students that come to Hillsborough County, they dream big, and they should. And when they come to school, it's our opportunity to not only to help them reach their full potential and allow them to be successful in their dreams, but build pathways that lead from success from one grade level to the next, from one lesson to the next, from one content module to the next, to allow them to become successful inside and outside of our classrooms. And however, we do see within the Opportunity Myth that we see that our students are doing everything we ask them to do. And this is not only in the state of Florida, but throughout the nation as well. When we go into a classroom, we see kids that are doing exactly what our teachers are asking them to do. But overall, sometimes when we see our children are to a point where they may not be prepared and have proven not to be prepared in some cases after their K-12 experience. We see a number of our students that are transitioning to the collegiate level that are taking remedial courses. We see a number of our students that, may not be prepared related to seeking to become, moving toward having a certificate of completion versus a high school diploma, not being able to engage in a platform to have the right CTE pathways to be successful, to be industry certified in a particular area. So overall, we've got to do a part where we go over and beyond to prepare our students to be successful. And we see that, there's four major areas of the Opportunity Myth identified that some of our schools may not have accessibility to in our students, and that's grade level appropriate assignments, that's strong instructional practices, that's deep authentic engagement, and holding our students to have high expectations. And the biggest ones of these fours, and after this report talks about the number one indicator that will allow students to be successful and dream big and obtain their goals, is to have high expectations for every learner in every classroom every single day. Our role and responsibility is make certain that children feel positive and have the I can attitude, and regardless of their race, regardless of their socioeconomic status, regardless of if they're a newcomer from ELL, we should always make certain that we expose our students to grade level appropriate contents and pushing them cognitive demands where they can be successful every single day. And we see in this report that students of color, those who are in low income families, ELL students, and those who have moderate disabilities are ones who suffer the most for not having those 4 elements to be successful. And then finally, making certain that we have greater access to these 4 elements in order to improve our experiences every single day. So this plan was really driven to make certain that we work alongside our teachers, we work alongside our support professionals, we work alongside leaders, community members, all to be holistic and making certain that our children have the least restrictive environment to be successful every day within Hillsborough County in order to create special opportunities. I'm going to transition this to the focus on equity, and this was a major part of this initiative, because this is where we have got to get to a point where we are inclusive of every one of our learners within our community, since in celebrating rich diversity within Hillsborough County.
Thank you. So good morning. So as you're probably aware, we've been partnering with the New York City Leadership Academy, and I know they've done previous great work with the school district in looking at those key drivers that help to close learning gaps, opportunity gaps, achievement gaps, in particular with the lens of what does the literature, the research, the information out there tell us that large urban districts like ourselves need to be paying attention to. And so we partnered with them, and you will see throughout this presentation that we paid attention to these key drivers: cultural competency, ensuring that our personnel match the demographics of our students, ensuring that we're deeply engaging family and considering their native language if they're monolingual, bilingual? Considering barriers such as scheduling, are we ensuring that every single student has access to rigorous courses? And then other kinds of barriers that can exist for our families in particular communities, like transportation. Do all parents and students have transportation to get to those enrichment or those additional activities that we offer? So those are some big foundational pieces in addition to what. Thank you. We also added, in addition to that, English language learners. NYCLA did not have that initially in their key drivers, but they're adding it. They said absolutely. That is something that's a national issue, and in fact, they are partnering with us as they update their work to reflect kind of where we're going, so we can feel good about that piece. I want to point out in your packets, you did get clean, brand new, fresh off the press packets that are on the dais. And so I just want to make sure that you have obviously the PowerPoint, so the slide deck that we're going through now. The only thing that's different is a couple of additional data slides and just some little glitches that we notice in production, as you know, can happen. You have a copy of the one-page strategic plan overview with the superintendent's vision. You then have a copy of the draft strategic plan. You have a copy of a sample scorecard in your packet, which is simply to begin to help us think about the best way that we can tell the story while holding the system accountable in terms of how we are moving forward with our data. And then, of course, additional resources that have driven this work are the racial equity policy that this board approved back in 2017. You have a copy of the Equity at Work New York Leadership Academy. So that's what I just described. You can go deeper into that. And then an executive summary of the opportunity myth that Superintendent Davis just shared. And so with that, I believe I passed it along to my colleague. Those are those additional resources. Thank you. And actually, Superintendent's
You
back
can stay
to
there. Just click when I do this.
Okay.
So the next phase is, and we've seen this in our retreat, is to make certain that we have a strong instructional culture. You know, being able to thrive in how we compete, to make sure we protect district managed schools and get our community members and our parents to select us first, is that we've got to make certain that we have strong instructional culture in every one of our schools. And this reflects on making certain that anything that we prepare from a lesson perspective is directly linked to the key instructional shifts that prepare our children for college and career ready standards. In an ELA, our job is to make certain that we select and adopt text, and implement shifts such as having students interact with complex informational text. We use text to build knowledge and capacity, and then also making certain that students are continue to use text-based evidence along the way. And as we transition to mathematics, the shifts continue to be making certain that we have rigorous components in front of our students that allow them to conceptually understand mathematical practices, and at the same time making certain that we build quality lessons that have coherence from one lesson to the next in the area of math, that build from grade to grade, from lesson to lesson, to module, so there's consistency in the math so we can get our students to fluently interact. And then at the same time making certain that math is truly focused on the standards every single day that's adopted by the state of Florida. And then we want to make certain that all of our students are engaged in the learning process and responsible for doing the thinking. So many times, when I was a learner, I was asked to copy down from an overhead, and that took a lot of the instructional time when I was a learner, when I was in high school. And that's just not the way that we maximize the instructional time that we have with our students. We want our students not to be compliantly engaged, but authentically engaged every single day, and they are actively working to productively struggle with their peers to be able to defend, to claim, and to be able to take ownership in the learning every single day within our classrooms. And then also making certain that we adopt and select high quality text in front of our children every single day. One of the things, we're in the process of an adoption process right now. This is one of the things we have is the beauty, is the partnership with HTCA, is that teachers get a chance to select high quality text and have ownership in that process, and we're going through there now. And then making certain that our lessons are differentiated, that we are using high quality text to scaffold the process, and not just looking at our students and identifying that they can't do it or it's too difficult. Our role is to make sure we support teachers to help them, give them the necessary scaffolds that allows our students to be successful and have that exposure at all times so that they can really truly compete. And then we're really differentiation based on the individualized learner, and then making certain that we are having our students, that we create a safe environment where our students are taking risk every single day in our classrooms, and also making certain that we have that growth mindset. It goes back to high expectations, that every learner can learn, every learner can be stretched, every learner has an opportunity to have an individualized learning path, and helping that learner reach his or her potential goals along the way. And then creating instructional coaches that are accountable for their practice. And that's not only instructional coaches, that's leaderships, teachers, support staff, all truly understanding the accountability side of owning their learning, really forethought of engaging in lesson studies, coaching cycles, and also true PLCs, so they can collaborate and really create the best practices to help with our students to be successful. And then really making certain we're in classrooms looking at student tasks, so we can figure out what trends and patterns are being exposed to our students, and determine whether or not we need to selectively abandon, we need to reteach, or go deeper in order to be successful. And then, then we talk about our visions, and we talk about instructional leaders. My job as instructional leaders, build the capacity of adults within the school system that turn keys and help with our students, and then being able to define instructional leadership to create a common language. And right now, one of the biggest things we're trying to accomplish is for our instructional leaders to have 4 pillars. Not only to be an operational expert, which I think is very important, because Chick-fil-A gets it right for getting individuals in and out. You have to be able to have dismissal. You have to have arrival patterns, and being able to look at flow systems, being able to look at scheduling. All those are operational experts, but we got to go deeper. We've got to get to a point where we have instructional leaders, within our schools, that understand the spirits of our standards and our content. So they are talent managers, and they're working every single day to build the capacity to retain, to recruit, and to help our teachers thrive every single day, and give them the resources. And at the same time, being able to make certain they are climate and culture builders, and that they feel that they feel value, our teachers feel value, supported, and we're really truly trying to provide bite-sized, actionable feedback in order to lift the experiences along the way. And that comes with a clear vision and mission within the organization about what student performance looks like, with a priority with equity. And then transition to build every time we have with leaders is make certain that we have instructional focus, cultural focus, mental health focuses that allow us lead to be successful. And then at the same time, making certain that we can create processes and highlights that are directly linked to grade level materials that support and expand knowledge linked to standard-based educations, identified by Department of Education. And lastly, making certain that our teachers provide opportunities for students to have grade level problems and exercises along the way to prove competence, to be, to identify areas of opportunity and identify areas to strengthen in order to be successful. And then all that tells to create a theory of action that moves to a theory of change. And that theory of action are critical elements that will maximize student outcomes in Hillsborough County, that goes back to the 4 elements of high expectations for every learner, regardless of who they are. Also making certain that we have strong instructional practice consistently every single day, using grade level appropriate materials and assignments, and making certain that our students are owning and understanding the leadership in the content every single day. When we go into classrooms, we want to know students. What's the overall objective? What's the essential learning? What are you trying to accomplish? What are you working on? And how is that connected and coherent from previous lessons, or where you're trying to go with it in an effort to have greater knowledge to be successful from one class to the next.
Thank you. So that moves right into our equity theory of action. And that really came with our work with NYCLA and other partners, that we understood that if we continue to think about our challenges as isolated and siloed and work with them in isolated situations, we're not going to make the gains that we need. We are a minority district, and we cannot have an equity plan or a closing the achievement gap plan that lives separately from our overall strategic plan. And so our theory of action is, if we build our 5-year strategic plan through the pillars of equity, diversity, and inclusion, and we think as a system and think and work collectively, then we will realize the potential and opportunities for every single one of our students to graduate from high school ready for college, career, and life. And with that, I'm going to pass it to my colleague, Mr. McCauley.
So keeping in mind everything that influenced the development of this strategic plan, we ultimately were able to identify some what was initially called Power Five, which is kind of a cool way to talk about the things that we want to make sure we're touching whenever we take action. In one way or another, we know that we have to stay focused on literacy and closing that achievement gap. It is very real. It's identified nationally, and certainly locally we have our own work cut out for us here. But by building everything we do around the idea of improving literacy for every child, we know we can close that gap. We have to constantly be thinking about being continuous in our school improvement, our efforts. What is it that we're learning and building upon each and every time we sort of make a change? Climate and culture being critical to that, because it's not just coming and learning how to read and write, but also feeling safe and empowered. Our graduation rate and preparing our students for the career workforce, things that we do specific to those elements. STEAM, some people know it as STEM, the emphasis on 21st century skills, jobs that don't even exist today. We've all heard that numerous times. And then making sure everything we do is done in an efficient and responsible manner operationally. The next one. The core values were born out of many conversations, one of which was with this board, in fact, and your feedback definitely influenced a lot of what we ultimately landed on here, identifying that we have to shoot for excellence. That has to be our goal for every student, and nothing short of that, by maintaining high expectations. We do that through collaboration and constant communication, learning as we go, what can we get better at, always trying to maintain a level of integrity that speaks true to the work. Servant leadership is a very real thing for this particular administration, so that we recognize what our strengths are and what we do to empower the people who work for us. Those innovative practices that teachers want to implement every day in the classroom, we absolutely want to give them the opportunity to do that and be creative in their approach, which leads naturally into empowerment, but with accountability. As long as what we're doing is the right thing for kids and getting the results we need, we have to give teachers that opportunity, always through equity, diversity, inclusion, and ultimately landing on the last one I didn't mention yet, but that's students first. That was a common theme among everyone we spoke with, that the students have to be the reason we're doing the work we're doing, and every decision we make revolves around that one. Hillsborough by the numbers. Very quickly, we'll run through some of this. We don't have to highlight all of the elements for you, but we did want you to at least get a chance to see where some of our influences were coming from, in addition to the literature and the work that's already been laid out before us. This is our Hillsborough County Public School District grade profile. Just over the last couple of years, we have maintained that B rating. We're just underneath that A threshold. But statewide, you can see that the last time school grades were administered in 2019, there was improvement statewide. 4 additional A's were added to the group, and 1 less C was added to the group statewide. So we've got our work cut out for us. We want to be the best district in the state of Florida, and that's certainly where we intend to be 5 years from now. This just gives you a quick snapshot of our specific district in terms of where we were back in 2016 at 55% with our B, and the gain that we've made 5 percentage points over that 4-year period to the last time grades were administered. So that's something to be proud of and to certainly step onto. This just gives you a very 2 years brief snapshot of where we are from the accountability cells as a district. These are the same cells that schools obviously are graded against. And everywhere that you look, we've had a nudge in the direction that we want to go, but just a nudge, and that's something we want to change in every school and certainly district-wide. Go ahead.
Thank you for that. So what's really exciting is in the last 2 years, the Florida Department of Education has implemented a new way of looking at demographic performance. And it takes that overall district grade and school grade component, and then it breaks it down and says, what would it be if you graded by your demographic groups of students? And so on this slide, what you see is for all students, we discussed, we earned a B, we had 60 points in 2019. But then it breaks it down by race and ethnicity, and you can see the differences, and you see some highlights certainly, and then you see our areas that we know we've got to really improve in. So the group by race and ethnicity, that the only one that's earning a C right now is our Black African American students. And so this clear profile really helps us to be transparent with our work and move the work forward. This slide also then breaks it down by further demographic types. Our students who are economically disadvantaged, our English learners, our female students versus our male students, migrants, military families, and then our students with disabilities. And again, this is data that is freely available to all consumers, stakeholders, public. It's public information. And again, we believe that by highlighting this in transparency, we can continue to move forward. In this slide deck, we highlight a few districts that are similar to us in not only size, but also demographics, whether we're considering racial and ethnicity, socioeconomic, English learners. And so we've got Broward, Orange, and Palm Beach. And what you might notice is that we actually are right with them when it comes to the percent of our students who are considered economically disadvantaged. We are actually a little bit less diverse. Even though we're a majority minority district, they actually have larger groups of Hispanic and Black students. And so we know that we can look to our colleagues across the state who have made a lot of progress in these areas and turn to them as thought partners as we continue to improve. Because on this slide, what we see is the school grades, the district grade rather, for each of those 4 districts, including ourselves. So you can see 2 districts got B's and 2 got A's overall. But then we dig deeper and we can see, for example, Hillsborough, Broward, and Orange, we all got C's for our Black student performance, whereas Palm Beach got a B. So we began to look at this data to help us drive our work, drive our performance, and also know that we are seeing increases and improvements in gaps that historically have been thought not only across the nation, but perhaps in Florida, that were not possible to close. But indeed, we know that they can and will be closed. This goes on and takes a look at our demographics by economically disadvantaged, English learners, and students with disabilities. And again, so for example, looking at Broward, they've got a B for ELL. So some definite highlights there, and we have some highlights as well. And so we can be proud of the good work that we're doing, but this just gives us what we need to continue to move forward. Let me go back. Now, this is another new and very cool data profile. What this says is, okay, if we were to take that district grade of 60% and we broke it down by school types. So in this particular data piece, what this represents is our students in 3 through 5 who are in elementary schools. Okay. You're going to see the next slide is K through 8. So we've earned a C overall. We earned 52% out of the total. And so with this, you can see again, areas of strength and areas of need when we look at that. When we move to our K-8 schools, and that would include students in grades 3 through 8 who are served in K-8 schools, we've earned a B. And we're at 56%. Again, you see the demographic breakdown on that. I'm going to pass it now to my colleague who's going to talk about middle and high school.
Continuing the same theme, we can be proud of what our middle schools are doing, because overall, if we graded just the middle schools on those accountability cells, our middle schools would have earned a B grade. A notch up from the elementary school, but also recognizing there are slightly different accountability elements here for the middle grades. We now introduce the idea of advanced coursework for this particular group, and then certainly the same thing for the high school. This profile was probably one of the most revealing for us as we began to talk about the things that we needed to focus on. Some people may be a little uncomfortable with it, and maybe that's a good thing. Maybe we do need to be a little uncomfortable, because it allows us to really dig down and focus on what we might be able to do differently for subgroups of kids, and certainly all kids. The grad rate, we've already acknowledged that, and something absolutely to be celebrated. At the same time, there's also opportunities for us to get better, and I think this slide really highlights when you look at our economically disadvantaged subgroup, English language learners and students with disabilities, as well as Black African American students, we've got to do better. We have to figure out what it is that's going on with these groups of students so that we can make them more successful, help them be more. And then certainly the opposite side of this is the dropout rate. And I don't have to point out the fact that there are some numbers there that we shouldn't be seeing. And this just, again, allows us to focus in and see what else is going on around the state, around the country, that we might be able to do differently for our kids in those subgroups. This is just a summary for you to see the school grade counts for Hillsborough County. Very excited that we're moving definitely in the right direction, that we have gained in the areas of A-graded schools and B-graded schools. We see less C-graded schools as well as the DNF schools, but still acknowledging that we have lots of work to be done, particularly in our schools that struggle the most.
This next slide points to, again, under ESSA, the support category counts that we have. And so, again, there's been some improvement. I just want to point out that targeted supported improvement would suggest a school has at least typically one of those demographic groups that's under the 40% threshold that is in the ESSA formula. And then those schools that have comprehensive support, that means there's multiple cells, multiple demographic groups for whom they are below the 40%. And so, of course, we want to have no schools in targeted support improvement or comprehensive support and improvement, but we certainly want to be seeing those numbers similarly to school grades moving in the right direction. And then finally, we're moving into some data that relates to our behavior and disciplinary practices by race and ethnicity. And so there's been a lot of work that's happened in this district to really focus on proactive support for students, things like PBIS and restorative practices. And the data does show that the numbers of incidents for middle school and high school, those are two data sets we're sharing today, is going down. But we do continue to see that even at the lower levels, as you move into 1920, 2021, of course, we do understand school buildings closed in March in 1920, and we've had, we've had some virtual and e-learners through 2021. But I will say that we have many students who are in brick and mortar throughout this school year, and this is the data that we have till now. Yes, this is just one semester of data. Thank you. But I think we can feel good that the data is moving in the right direction, and we can continue to work on improving that. And then you see the same thing, data for high school as well. So this is an example of 2 additional data slides that are in the packet that you got that's on the dais. And then here's some of the data on middle school arrests by race. And this has been, of course, a big topic and a big area of focus, and again, significant improvements, closing those gaps, reducing the incidents, and continuing to move forward and work on this area. And then high school, same thing. And you see, going back to 17-18, certainly you could look at 17-18 and 18-19 as 2, typical school years to some degree. And then, of course, we'll have to re-norm when we get back to full brick and mortar. Hopefully that's this fall. But still we're paying attention to the data as we move forward. And then this last slide here, related to discipline, is one that you can find publicly on the FDOE website. And this shows just another display of data. The bottom bar is our total student enrollment. So it shows that 22% of our student population is Black. By the way, this is the 18 data. 37% Hispanic and 31% white. And then when you go up, you can see the differences in the proportion of students who are Black, as an example, who have 1 or more in-school suspension. And then it gets even higher when you have 1 or more out-of-school suspension. And then finally, you see that data when you have more than 1 out-of-school suspension, that out of all of the students who've gotten more than 1 out-of-school suspension, 52.3% are our Black students in the 2018-19 year, whereas they only represented 22% of our overall population. So as we continue forward, we'll also in the future have access to data like this, working with FDOE, that can tell the story and help us to use metrics to improve our work. And then finally, we've discussed a great deal about how important it is that our demographics of our teachers and staff and leaders mirror the demographics of our students. And so that top row represents our demographics of students. So, for example, 21% Black, 37% Hispanic, 32% white. And then what you begin to see is that disconnect, and this is not something that is not known, and we've been working toward this, and we're going to continue to work to that. But you see that lower representation of both Black and Hispanic from teacher level to assistant principal to district level, and whereas the majority of our both teachers and leaders are white. And so that is something that we're all working together to ensure that we are mirroring the demographics of our student population. I want to point out and thank the work of our Equity and Diversity Task Force because they really began leading this systemic planning. We started July 1, building this out as we move forward. They each were assigned to strategic planning through work groups and to really dig deep into those equity action areas that NYCLA had shared with us and that we used in that planning. And so throughout the actual strategic plan, you will see woven in there those high leverage action items that are necessary to close achievement gaps in diverse districts like ourselves. And the plan addresses all areas of equity, diversity, and inclusion, including the racial equity that is included in this board's 2017 policy. And so with that, I am going to go ahead and turn it over to goal 1, which will be, let's see, I think Terry Connor, I think you're going to be by yourself. You had a partner and that partner's not able to join us.
Good morning. Good morning. I want to talk a little bit about Goal 1 briefly. As you can see, it's to provide high-quality educational experience to ensure all of our students are prepared for secondary success. And there's two main objectives here that were derived from what the superintendent had mentioned in the beginning of the presentation around the opportunity myth. That is, we derived our theory of action from that research. So all of our principals have been undergoing that training and that exposure to those elements within that theory of action throughout this entire year, and will continue through the next 5 years as it relates to our first objective. So when you see the 4 resources that were explained previously around the opportunity myth that must be present in the classroom, that is how we derive the first objective, that we are going to foster high expectations in the classroom. We're going to have strong instructional practices evident through our teaching. We're going to make sure that we have grade appropriate assignments daily, and we're going to make sure that we're targeting our interventions to students who need it the most. And so our measures for that will be derived obviously from our school grade components and making sure that we're reducing the number of DNF schools, increasing our A's, B's, and C's, and of course all of our state accountability areas. So within that, there's two things that we need to keep in context here as it relates for the next 5 years. We are on a very aggressive timeline from the state regarding our transition to the new standards. So we have the best standards that are rolling out over the next three years. So that was really important when we developed our strategic initiatives, that we embed and made sure that we are aligned to what the state is coming down the pipe with our instructional materials adoptions, so that we have that high quality text and those grade appropriate assignments, that we're providing the right professional development on the best standards. As you know, we're rolling out K2 reading standards next year, ELA, and then the year after that in 22-23 we'll be rolling out all the rest. So that will be 3 through 10 in ELA and all of our K-12 math standards. And one other important context that we need to keep in mind as we develop the strategic initiatives was the fact that we've been through a pandemic in the last year and a half. And that's really important, that there is going to be a lot of unfinished learning, and the data will show that we have got major gaps to recoup. The thing that we want to make sure that we understand is that we're not going to just stop and do all remediation. How do we develop and compact the curriculum in a way to accelerate that, to get kids back on track, versus getting in a vicious cycle of remediation. So it's a combination of all of that you'll see in Objective 1. In Objective 2, it's really about graduation rate. We had it right in our previous strategic plan in Hillsborough County that is important. So we're going to continue to make that a major focus. But we're also going to make sure that we include within that objective is enrichment opportunities for students, that we still embrace the arts, music, physical and health education. we still want to make sure that we have robust CTE pathways within every one of our high schools that actually meet the demand of the workforce here in Tampa and on a national level. So that is how those strategic initiatives were developed. And that is goal one.
Okay, if I can just interrupt this program, and I know that you have a few more bullet points, but the board members have so many comments that I know they're going to want to begin. So let me go through the board right now so they can get their comments, and then hopefully at the end. And I say this with regards to knowing you're going to have one-on-one meetings as well. And what a thorough presentation. So, you know, we are very thankful, and doubly thankful you're putting it through the lens of diversity and equity. So at this point in time, I'm going to go ahead. Board members, I know you have questions, and let's see how we do with the first round. If you want to go ahead and keep it to the first and second goal, and then we can go around again and do the third and fourth goals. At this point in time, Member Snively will have 3 minutes on the timer. Good morning, Member Snively.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Thank you so much. My apologies for being a few minutes late. I was upstairs working on a STEM video. So wanted to first say thank you to the superintendent and his team for putting this together. I think it's a good progression from what we started in our original brief roundtable that we had with board members. And I have a lot of questions, so I'll start with the first one that has to do with discipline. And yes, I do want to acknowledge our graduation rates look really good, and that yes, there's room for opportunity, and so I'm looking forward to hopefully continuing that strategy and goals and action plans for our district. Okay, so recently we had some members and groups in the community convey concerns about the school to prison pipeline, and so you've shown us some data today in this presentation that looks promising. And so I wanted to kind of understand how the information that you presented today relate to our statistics around the school to prison pipeline, and what efforts have we made, or are you going to make, or continue to make to continue to reduce the students in that school to prison pipeline. And to tack on to that, one of the concerns that I had looking at slide 37 with regard to 2018 disciplinary action by race and ethnicity, I'm a little disturbed that our numbers, I'm happy that our numbers are shrinking as far as the African American community is going, but I'm concerned that our numbers are increasing around the Hispanic community. So we went from, you can see we went from 27, we're going from 27%, 34%, 36, so 37% of total school enrollment, 37.2% have had disciplinary action, whereas for the African American community it's 22%, and the white students is 31.7%. So I'm a little concerned about that, and wanting to know what we're going to do as a school district to improve how we handle disciplinary action for Hispanic students.
Yes, ma'am, through the chair, and I'm going to let some of my staff speak with Kim, in particular, Mr. Crystal, along with Monica. This is a concentration. This is all about mindset. You know, we talk about how suspensions never address the undesired behaviors, and we know that there has to be rituals, routines, there has to be consequences, but we have to build a code of student conduct plan, and that truly allows for progressive discipline, but at the same time identifies norms and expectations within our school district, and that comes linked to making certain that we continue to train teachers to gain access to our students, to engage with our parents, to make certain that they truly understand our norms within expectations within our school district outlined by the Code of Student Conduct, and making certain that we have a number of progressive strategies such as restorative practice, such as peer advisory boards, such as an opportunity for our students to have whether it be campus beautification, a number of things to own their learning, to be able to redefine the way that they make those decisions and really be accountable by their peers through that process. Now, there's some elements that we will continue to have zero tolerance with that, because we want to make certain that we don't have students disrupting the educational environment. But it's all about making certain that we are culturally competent related to understanding the rich diversity that we have within our community, and being able to make certain that we continue to gain access to our students every single day. But we've doing a lot of stuff related to this initiative. You will see that the school to prison pipeline, we've done a lot with. While we have 70% of our students that are on campus right now, we've done a lot with reduction of our suspension rates, reduction of our number of incidents, and this is teachers doing a great job every single day making that connectivity. And then also with the arrestability, making certain that children own and are reflective of their practice before making those decisions. Ms. Bays, anything you want to, or Mr. Crystal?
Yes, thank you, sir. This really is a function of Goal 2, and if you'd like me to get into Goal 2, I can right now. I'll leave that up to you, Madam Chair.
Member Snively, would you want to indulge in that second goal now?
Well, I think before we do, thank you for asking, first of all. And I know that we haven't gone through the goals yet, and there's no action plans and strategies listed in the goals section. So I don't know if that's something that you plan on talking about as we get into the goals section. So if you wanted to wait until we actually go through the goals section, maybe that would be an appropriate time to address that.
I agree. Yeah,
Okay.
that's a great opportunity. So at ease.
Okay. I was going to let through the chair. This is.
So
Don't go too far, though, right?
and by the way, Member Snively and board members, we're going to have that highlighted. All the statistics. I believe Superintendent Davis is going to highlight that at the board meeting, and all that will be seen. But that's a very important question. So
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll get back in the queue for my next question.
Righto. Okay, Member Vaughn, you're next. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can you guys hear me? Yes. Also, I want to say happy belated birthday. I know your birthday was on Sunday, so happy belated birthday. So I do have a lot of questions, but first of all, Superintendent Davis, when did we get access to this plan? What was the first time we were allowed access to it?
This plan that you currently have
Yes.
I believe, was Friday.
Friday. And when did the public get access to these documents?
The public has not had access to this document. It's for us to kind of work through a workshop and for us to go back and refine, and then we'll be able to make access. But there has been public access through the task force.
Okay. I would just like to make a formal request to have these documents before a weekend, before the workshop, so I have more of a time to review them and be able to be collaborative. So I appreciate that. But I want to say this piece is extremely helpful, and I appreciate it because I couldn't read it in the documents I got from my computer. And going through this piece, it really helps outline a lot of the strategic plans and put a lot of meat into it and details, which I absolutely love. And to Member Snively's point, we are addressing the school to prison pipeline quite heavily in this. So I'm extremely excited to see this in actual details of how we're going to do that. My questions lie in a lot of this stuff looks like it's going to require extra funding. We're looking at hiring extra personnel. We're looking at, making sure that we have trainings and that we're supportive. So I'm just curious how this kind of ties in with our limitations in funding, how we're going to be able to kind of implement a lot of the things that are in here, because that's one of my concerns. And then the next question I have is I know that we had talked about previously, even before I got on the board, that there was an equity study being done that was going to help guide a lot of our discussions around changing some of our policies, like the policy we had provided here and some other policies to make sure they're more impactful when we talk about the school to prison pipeline and racial equity and equity across the board. So I'm wondering where we are on that and how that ties into the strategic plan. And then I had some other questions as far as I know we've identified. I know I ask a lot of questions. One more before I get in, before my time's done. I know that we've highlighted a lot of solutions for our socioeconomic disadvantaged students and our, racially divided students, but I haven't seen a lot of things in here addressing our students with disabilities, specifically defining which students are physically disabled and which are neurodiverse disabilities, and how we plan to make sure that we're reaching them. Because if you look at that slide that we had, aside from our Black students and our students who are socioeconomically disadvantaged, our disabled students are also following through the margins and cracks. So I want to make sure that we have an aggressive plan in here, and I haven't seen that so far. So thank you so much for the time.
Go ahead, Monica.
Thank you for your feedback and comments. I did the one that I do want to respond to in terms of the equity study that we got by NYCLA, the equity task force, and just so you know, in the slide deck, there's the list of all the various stakeholders who participated in our task force, which includes parents, community members, students, etc. But that was shared with the task force, and the results were used to help inform what you see in front of you today. So thank you for that.
I think through the chair, I thought I've already sent that, but I will resend to make sure you have it. And then on the other process, so my understanding, I'll go back to the timeline, is that we agreed and we'll go back and be able to speak about the retreat, about Fridays will be the day that you'll get the information. If there's a day that we want to accelerate it, we'll be able to work out with the retreat to have a better understanding so that so I understand the timeline. I'm staying consistent the way that I did when I submitted this document. The other side of it, this is all, we have a number of personnel inside that's ready to do a lot of this training. So we don't believe it'll be extensive related to being able to have to go outside for consultants. We've had the trainer model for many years in Hillsborough County, and we've had overall additional focuses. So if there's anything that's overextended, we will leverage grants. We'll leverage federal dollars to do so and protect our general dollars along the way. But I do agree we can work to add students with disabilities in multiple levels to make sure it's highlighted. Because if you look at the grades and the data that was presented by the Department of Education, those were particular areas that we needed to be able to improve that process. Yes, ma'am.
And a very good question. And the disabilities, that's going to be on the agenda. The new update on the exceptional student education will be on the board agenda for the March 9th board meeting. So we can dig into that. I also wanted to say that Karen, Member Perez is also going to speak. So Member Washington, you're next. Okay, Member Washington's next. Member Perez, and then Member Hahn, and then I will speak.
Okay.
Just tell me when you want to speak. Okay. Oh, Member Washington, would you mind if I had Member Hahn speak? She's got a finger habit here of pressing buttons.
When I was trying to hit my other button.
So I got to hold her hand, it seems, just to prevent this. All right. Thank you, Member Washington. Go ahead, Member Hahn. 3 minutes.
Appreciate the consideration. Thank you so much. Yes. No. So I echo Member Vaughn's concerns about the ESC students. And as I was looking through a lot of the data, thinking, the disciplinary data, the attendance data, the graduate, thinking about why am I not seeing that population? Because when we look back at the data on the grades, the ESC population was scoring, in a D across the board. So I don't want us to, I know they're embedded in this other data, but I do think we need to recognize that group specifically. And I would, in going back to the grading of the various groups, what are some of the action steps? This is very high level, but what are some of the immediate action steps staff has taken to address those high need categories that are C or below?
So I think the biggest thing right now we're trying to implement is make sure we have consistencies of using and leveraging, the right core curriculum in Tier 2 and Tier 3 curriculums within our schools. And I think that making, as I said when I came in, there's a lot of resources that were out there and continue to be out there. So just mainstreaming the content so that we can really have a centralized focus from one school to the next, and we really can compare overall effectiveness of curriculums, but at the same time make certain that when we do tier in schools and look at strategic supports, that those supports are being able to active. And at the same time, looking at students with disabilities is trying to make certain that we are leveraging the least restrictive environment for our students. We do have a number of our students that qualify and through IEP teams that are transitioning to resource classes. but making certain that, our resource classes really has the right mindset, continues to have the right resources for our children to be exposed to grade level equivalent experiences and transition to general education classes if they can particularly handle it, not only intellectually but socially, emotionally as well. And then being able to look at how we address ELL students. And right now we have a number of pilots going on with Imagine Learning, and this is all to be able to tier the scope, the work, to be able to help our students become fluent in the English language, and at the same time being able to teach them scaffolding strategies to be successful. And also if we look at our bottom quartile, tier 3 from students who, really looking at our transformational schools and being able to leverage like LLI to be able for implementation, which is a very, very, scripted opportunity for our students to be successful in the area of literacy and give them the necessary foundational skills. Sorry, that's probably my time.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody else has.
You ate up my time.
I'm sorry.
You got to answer a little bit more.
I'm sorry, boss.
You're fast, but you're
know.
long. Okay.
I'm trying to beat that buzzer.
So I do appreciate that, and I think for me, I just talked with some parents in the special ed community, ESE community yesterday, and one of the simplest things that we can do immediately is the timing of getting those IEPs written, making sure they're student specific, and getting them turned around and implemented immediately in the least restrictive environment. And I think this is a real opportunity for us as board members to look at policy that can impact some of these categories that are C or lower, to make some immediate impacts. And we're in a policy cycle. And just one more thing about graduation rates and post-secondary success. Again, I see an opportunity here for us to work with our business community around workforce development, because there is this direct correlation between our workforce development programs and the economic development in our community. And if we get our community business leaders invested and involved in problem solving and coming up with some plans for our workforce development, this can really have a positive ripple effect on our students. If they're connected and excited about the programs we're offering, we're then going to see a positive impact on attendance and behavior and all these other areas that we're seeing these grades, these low performing grades. So thank you for the time. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
Those, again, are excellent points and suggestions. Boy, we're giving you all some more homework, and that's a good thing because you're able to do it, and we need to have it done. Next is Member Washington, and following Member Washington will be Member Perez and then Member Combs, and I will go last.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. First, I want to say, committee, you guys did a great job, but we still got a lot of work to do. One of the things that I have in mind, and I'm just throwing out some thoughts here, we need to work on recruiting minority teachers in Hillsborough County in the system. We don't have enough minority teachers. Do we have any procedure in place where we can go out and recruit minority teachers?
Marie, go ahead. You're good.
Thank you, Mr. Washington, for that question. Yes, sir, we do. And we have strong partnerships with our historically black colleges and universities here in the state, and then other universities and colleges throughout the country as well. And I have Dr. Walker here, Althea Walker, and she leads that work with our recruitment team as well.
Okay, good. Okay, the next question I have. What I would like to see is once we get the plan together, I think it's important to have this plan put out in the community so the community can understand, because we're having people come up to speak at the board meeting and the numbers are not correct. And I don't know where they're getting those numbers from. So we need to have those numbers out so when they come up and speak, we could correct them if we need to, because that's so important. And something else I think we really need to put out there. What are we doing to keep our students in school? Because the community, my constituents, they're not understanding what we are doing. We have to make it plain and clear what we are doing to keep our students in school. We still have to work on the black males. I mean, that's something we have to work on. I mean, even though we improve, but we still have to improve more, because that's the pipeline. And we need to work with those students and those parents so they can understand what they need for that kid for their students to be successful. And last but not least, I think it's important when we do the NTO, the new teacher orientation. When we have the new teacher orientation, we need to have some type of training for teachers when they go out in the communities in the transformational network. Because when we start off teaching, when you start off with the NTO, everybody's the same. Everybody's going over the same information. But when you go out in those schools, in that network, it makes a difference. And then we're losing teachers because once they get in the network, they can't deal with the discipline problems. So I would like to see us work on that. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Member Washington. And with that additional homework, I hope that we're taking notes and we're reporting back to what exactly is being done in each of those requests from these board members. Next, Member Perez, and then Member Combs, and then Member Gray.
Thank you, Member.
We don't hear it, do we?
I requested some information, and I received the information back, and it demonstrated in these numbers that we had 317 students that received a COC, and for the public, it's a certificate of completion. And those numbers were Black students were 102, the Hispanic students were 165, Asian 8, multiracial 13, and Caucasian students received 28, for a total of 317. And I believe all the board members received that information as well. So when I look at the report cards, and this has to do with graduation rates as well, I see that our Black, Hispanic, and multiracial, well, the Black and Hispanic, their grades are like C and under. The multiracial, if the community doesn't know, it's a 5.97% of our student population, and they're at 64% A. But then the rest of the students are 32%, which are Caucasian, and they're at an A average at 68%. So I'm having a very difficult time processing this, Superintendent. And then also when it comes to our ELL, they're at C grades, our migrant students as well, and our economically disadvantaged students fall in the C and D range, and the disabled students. So, and this has been going on. My numbers come from 2018, and we're now in 2021. And I know that the numbers are going to look different depending on how our students take their tests and what happens and how that affects them. But when we provide our students with a COC instead of a diploma, they can't do anything with a COC. So what are we doing to help these numbers, decrease these numbers, and help our students?
So through the chair, I don't disagree with you. I think that overall, to your point, and as I mentioned earlier, this probably needs to go to the scorecard. And we did a sample scorecard. We gave every board member to be able to add initiatives such as this, and this could be reducing the certificates of completions. The biggest thing is making certain that we continue to engage our families and our students during the academic history conferences, starting at an early age when students transition from 8th grade to 9th grade, and leveraging that summer and those first 9 weeks to really set up students for success. Our teachers are working out; they're doing great every single day. The biggest thing is making certain that students are giving best effort in every one of their classrooms and staying connected to the process. During this pandemic, we've learned that more of our students have earned D's and F's, and my hat's off to our teachers as they're working for every single day to provide grace and allow them to have an opportunity for mediation. But we just got to continue to make certain that we have interventions for our students. We're continuing to have conferences and leverage our counselors and our administrators and our teachers along the way for them to make certain that we're having academic history conferences so students are staying on track with the necessary credits to obtain their diploma. Anything?
Yeah, I just want to add. I'll add to that, Ms. Perez. Two major reasons why students earn a certificate of completion is GPA is not at least a 2.0, or they do not pass their graduation assessments. So that would be mainly for us. What we see is the ELA assessment. So what we're doing to address that issue is to make sure that we're maximizing every opportunity for students to take the ACT and the SAT on a monthly basis. So exhausting any potential waivers that they may get. We provide boot camps. We want to make sure that they're exposed and immersed in high quality instruction in a regular ed classroom as much as possible and not secluded from the general population. And then it's just really exhausting every opportunity for them between that 10th grade year and that 12th grade year to meet that ELA requirement, because that is our biggest barrier for both of those subgroups, for all subgroups really, is that ELA graduation assessment.
So I don't know if I still have time, but how many dual language programs do we have in Hillsborough County, and at what grade levels do we have them? Because a lot of our students just don't come into our Hillsborough County schools at first grade. Some of them come into high school, some have come into middle school. So how many dual language programs do we have, and do we have them in all schools?
So to answer that last question, we do not have them at all schools. We do have 6 at the elementary, the primary grade levels. We are expanding 2 more into the middle schools starting next year. So those are a continuation. Remember, when we develop and we establish those programs, there's an intense training and commitment from the teachers that are there. So it's identifying the right fit. So that's a process that Melissa Morgado, our supervisor of world language, is continuing to do. We see the power in it. There is significant data to show that kids are making extreme progress in that. So it is a focus to continue to expand that program all the way up through high school. But it will take us time, and you can't just start one. You have to really kind of build from the ground up.
And thank you, Member Perez. Such great questions. Dual language, we know that not only it's powerful, but it does increase their academic scores. And it's at Bellamy, West Chase, and I'm real excited to hear about that progress. Now, we're going to go ahead. Member Combs will be the next question, and then I will ask a few, and we'll go from that point.
First of all, I want to thank Dr. Tirado and the superintendent and everybody else for just all of this and the presentation. And many of the board members have already commented on many of my thoughts. And as Dr. Hans spoke about, one thing that I've noticed just through my personal experience, the length of time that it takes to actually staff that child, identify them, staff them with an IEP and 504, sometimes that can take up to a year. So I really would like to really look at what we can do to speed up that process and make sure. So really come up with a strategic plan on how to identify and then staff that child and not wait for a year. Usually it's at least a 6 month to a year process. So that was my first comment, to really come up with a plan for that. Second of all, when we look at our students with disabilities and how we aren't performing well with them, we really need to break that down. I would like to see, based on the disabilities and how each group is doing, because that will help us identify the subgroup that is doing, the least successful, and what kind of modifications can we do to meet their needs. The other thing I wanted to mention, when I look at the personal demographics of the districts, one thing that really stands out to me is the Hispanic personnel that is represented in this district. When I see that 37% of our students are Hispanic, and if you look down the level, you're seeing that the district level is only 12%, principals are only 12%, assistant principals are only 11%, and teachers are 13%. We do have work to do in the Black community as far as where they, their representation. But those gaps for the Hispanic are really, to me, really stand out, especially when you're looking at the district level. And I'd like to see, what kind of plan that we have to make sure that at the district level, especially when you look at 70% of the district level is white, and then you're looking at the other demographics, I see a huge gap there. And I think it's really important that we prioritize that. And I'd like to see what type of plan that we have to make sure at the high level, especially at the district principal and assistant principals, that we are really, mirroring what we are representing. And then I had one last thing, is really when we talk about the instructional level. When we look at next year and we have students who are going to be, a year behind or whatever the challenge may be, what's our plan? Because I know as a teaching perspective, to teach on grade level when many students are going to come behind grade level, we are not going to increase that achievement gap. We're going to increase the achievement gap instead of closing it. So those are some of my concerns and questions.
Yes, Mr. Chair. When we'll do our recruiting plan, we'll make certain that it's inclusive of every subgroup. I do not disagree, and I'll show you the past and the present relation about hiring individuals of color, not only as principals but as APs, as the district level. We've done a really nice job in the last 11 months to be able to improve that. We still have work to do. I do agree that openly, when the Department of Education started looking at forecasting models and talking about how they will assess this year and looking at potential grades for school districts, they were openly and clear that Hillsborough County will have an additional number of DNF schools related to the achievement gap. So how do we close that? We're working right now with Mr. Connor's shop and the entire team with Debbie Cook to be able to look at summer learning opportunities that are expanding to make certain that we offer it to so many of our students who are definitely in need. But at the same time, as we transition the next year, I think one of the perfect models that we've learned in our lead meetings is that we have got to get to an instructional framework that is really intentional. And Beavis Elementary School spoke about it really nice about how they're really using the instructional framework not only to introduce core concepts for 15, 20 minutes of the overall standard and the objective learning, but then releasing that responsibility to create small group instructional opportunities in the classroom to have independent lessons learned, to be able to be intentional, to differentiate, leverage supplement materials to remediate standards or skills that allowed our children to be successful. We know that gap is going to continue to exist. So how do we combat summer learning loss? How do we expand that? And I just think about that framework has to be a part of our conversations, but we've got to do a better job, continue to do a better job of supporting teachers to allow them to be successful, because as a former high school teacher, former middle school, high school principal, it's hard to release that responsibility, especially when you're dealing with a number of Addison Davises who may be disruptive in the class, and being able to give them the strategies to be successful. But I see it everywhere. When I go into classrooms, our teachers are doing a wonderful job trying to make that happen. I think we've got to do a better job to help them see and leverage every moment they can to be successful. Anything, Mr. Connor?
You hit everything on the head there. I would just say, too, a part of that strategy is that data-driven decision-making that we're really honing in with our principals during our monthly principal meetings. So it's about how do you look at your data, and what's been powerful in the lead meetings is that principals have been doing that already, looking at that mid-year data from the comparison to the baseline and already developing strategies and plans that are going to touch kids in the classroom through the instructional frameworks, through small group instruction. I think that's the key to closing those gaps, but still during that whole group instruction, making sure that we're still exposing students to on-grade level material.
Oh, and thank you. Those are very, very, very important points. I wanted just to make a comment. Every one of the board members are now hearing the diversity and equity, the importance of it, and how it's being strategically threaded not only through curriculum but mental health and actually community outreach. So some of my questions get answered because I'm on the Diversity and Equity Committee with Miss Vera Tirado. But I do have some questions. But before I say that, you mentioned Beavis, and my granddaughter goes to Beavis Elementary, and she's turned 6, this is how I know that equity and diversity is being taught. She showed me a picture of Abraham Lincoln, and with a stovepipe hat, and I said, what are you learning? And she said, I'm learning about people that have different colors than me, and she's in kindergarten. And I said, well, what do you think? What's your thoughts about what you're learning? And this is what she said, and I had my son write it down yesterday. If everyone looked the same, life would not be beautiful. That's what my granddaughter said after learning more about Black history. And from Beavis, the principal, Miss Peterson is the teacher. So I wanted to share that because that came out of a young child's life. But anyway, thank you. At any rate, I want to thank also Ms. Bays for your disproportionality suspension, Joshua Crystal, and the endless time that you're spending with the curriculum that's going to be broadcast soon. My question is, I have three because I'm going to run out of time. This is having to do with the objective number 1, and it's on page 1 of 9, 1.111. I'm looking at the strategic initiatives. So we're trying to train the teachers on the English learners to ensure English learners have equal opportunity. So what happens if there's not a virtual piece yet? In other words, our English language learners, ELL, do not have a virtual piece? Are we working on that? Perhaps this is one of the not complaints, but one of the frustrations. They may have a virtual piece, but they don't have access to it because of the computers.
Sorry, through the chair, are we speaking about students' perspective or
Yeah.
training for teachers?
Well, the teachers need to be trained,
Yes,
of
ma'am.
course. But are our English language learners having enough access to the virtual by way of perhaps not having computers?
So through the chair, we've actually, I don't have it with me, but I actually just asked for that data and just received it to look at the number of students that have checked out our computers from our school district by race and by gender and socioeconomic status as well, so we can determine how many students. I do believe the majority of our students that have our laptops are Hispanic. Anytime that any of our students needs an additional laptop, they need to please engage with us. We're trying to get as many as we can, as we know that there is, we ordered 50,000 laptops in the last 11 months, but there's a backlog of trying to obtain them due to the fact that there's the need throughout the state of Florida and throughout the nation is great. But Mr. Bunkley is working for redesign of a unit to allow us to have accessibility. But any student that needs it, we're here to help them along the way to be successful.
And that goes to the next concern that when we talk about credit recovery, this is 1.26. The plan will support schools with lost credits. So many of we all know that many of our students right now cannot pass the FSA, certainly our ELL. And some, I'm not saying the teachers have given up by any, but there's a lot of frustration and a lot of anxiety from teacher perspective. How are we going to handle the very reality that's facing us that many students will not be able to pass this FSA?
Yes, ma'am. You know what? Our teachers are working, diligently to expose students to grade level standards. I think the assessment when students do not pass, then I think that really creates a mindset for the learner, and I think that and I think it also impacts our teachers because they work so hard to make sure that children have accessibility to all of the resources, all of the content, all of the toolboxes to be able to attack content to be successful. But I think once that learner gets a part where they have a mindset of not being able to get over that hurdle, then this is where we got to rebuild, and this is why we've leveraged some of our intensive reading classes because ELA continues to be the gatekeeper in whether it be in the 3rd grade, 10th grade modalities, and leveraging opportunities for us to focus on ACT prep, to look at extending the number of SAT school days to get our children to the finish line. The biggest thing is, and we talked about earlier, PERT is no longer going to be an option. I think this is the last cohort or last year to do it, and it's going to hurt a number of our students being able to graduate on, and hit the thresholds. Hence, going back to the certificate of completion. So, for us is just continue to make certain that we provide more opportunities for mediation. Teachers are doing a wonderful job through my lead meetings at schools are having before, during, after school extended learning opportunities. We have students who are who are in brick and mortar that are going to have extended learning opportunities virtually in the evenings with our teachers, in some of the really creative ways that our leaders and our teachers are really trying to close that gap. My hat's off to them. I don't know if I missed anything.
And just to piggyback for ELL students, we are looking at FSA boot camps, and we are ensuring that we're strategic with the bilingual support, that we're pushing into those intensive reading classes and English classes so that, to your point, we can close that gap that's been exacerbated over the last year and a half.
Yeah, and a quick shout out to Elena Garcia, for helping facilitate those challenges. Elena, I see you. Okay, my time's certainly up. So we're going to have Member Snively, Member Vaughn, Member Hahn, Member Perez, and then I would say to the board, I believe Mr. Connor wants to finish because
I think we're on goal 2.
yeah, and that would mean an extension of the workshop. But let's get through the immediate speakers. Member Snively, and you're up.
Thank you. I would first like to say that I do agree with Member Vaughn that this would have been nice to have a little bit earlier to look at. This is a lot of information, and I didn't even see this part of this before I walked into the meeting today. And so to have a little more time to digest this would be really helpful for us in the future. But because it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot of information from everyone who worked collaboratively to put all this together. So I also want to echo Mr. Washington about recruitment of minority teachers. I know that we have in the past have recruited from historically black colleges, and I think what I'm concerned about, because we talk about this every year, we talk about it. And the issue that I had coming in as a school board member asking questions about how we do that is there was a certain lack of accountability several years ago. So, for example, how many historically black colleges do we go to? Where are they? How often do we go? When do we go? Who are we talking to? How do we, all of those? Nobody could actually give me any of that data at that time. Now, it may have changed since then, which would be great, but we need analytics around what's happening when we are recruiting from historically black colleges. And then what are we doing about our Hispanic population? Because to my knowledge, there are few, if any, historically Hispanic colleges out there. So what are we doing for the Hispanic population? Because it is a huge concern that our teaching demographics do not align at all with our student demographics, right? So 27% of our teachers are black and Hispanic, 58% of our student population is black and Hispanic. So, but I know that you don't have to answer me right now because that's going to be something to go on. The other thing, kind of from a high level, is for the objective today. This is so much we could spend literally 3 to 5 days sitting here going through all this information. And so what I wanted to ask the superintendent and your team, are you trying to get from us today just kind of a green light to say this is a good start and keep going? Because there are a lot of strategic initiatives here. Some of them are really more action plans than strategic initiatives. So I'm looking at this list of strategic initiatives and going, that's definitely a strategy and that's definitely an action item. So they're a little bit mixed up in between, and I think it needs to be personally cleaned up a little bit between initiatives around strategy versus action plans, because they're mixed in. And I'll give you an example. So for objective number 1 under goal number 3 on page 5, the top one is create a long-term recruitment and retention plan in order to increase diversity in all employee groups and compete for the best talent in the district, state, and nation. That is a strategy. The last item is more of an action item. Establish and support CTE teacher academics through a partnership with Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University at each high school in order to strengthen the district's Grow Your Own Educator pipeline and increase the number of minority students entering into the teaching profession. That's a very specific action item. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So my recommendation would be to go back and clean that part up and really delineate between the strategies and the action items, and then come back to the board and with that information so we can continue to discuss further. I'd be really curious to hear from my other colleagues on how they think we should proceed, because this is a Herculean effort to put this together, and to ask us, for continuous feedback is going to take some time. And what's the timeline for actually implementing the strategic plan, because you don't want to wait too long, right? So sorry I took a little bit longer there, but
Yes, ma'am. Through the chair. Today was just about exposure, right? Just to start the conversation, to be able to look at, core values, look at the Power Five, to look at objectives, to look at some of the initiatives. And then from this point, we'll start having ongoing individual conversations with board members, continue to refine this effort. And when we get to a comfortable place, and we hope to be in a comfortable place, maybe sometime in April, to be able to bring it and be able to move it to action. But I think it is so heavy, and but today just as a start of the conversation, and be able to give us individual feedback on where we can go, and also looking at the scorecard. What can we particularly add to the scorecard in order to have accountability measures, and what additional lens do we, from the board's perspective, do we want to particularly add? And I love the fact we're getting greater granular aspects for students with disabilities, looking at attendance, certificate of completions, and making certain that we have additional items that we can continue to expand upon.
thank you.
Mm-hmm. And by the body language of our board members, I would say that we definitely would need more time. Thank you, Member Snively. Strategies and action plans and the timelines relevant, that's what I wrote down as well, would be very necessary. It is on the agenda for our next school board meeting, this strategic plan for a vote. So can you just clarify that?
Yes, ma'am. Through the chair, that'll be put in the parking lot. I call it the parking lot. It's going to be in a place where it'll wait and hold. And then when we feel we're at a comfortable place with this, and we'll put it back on, and in overall probably projected for, it's a placeholder now, probably projected for April.
Okay, so we won't have it
No, ma'am.
discuss or vote on. Okay, now we're going to go to Member Vaughn, then Member Hahn, then Member Perez, and Member Gray. And we're going to have to also decide at that point how much longer we want to extend this meeting. So, Member Vaughn, thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So in the vein of giving feedback, here are some things that I would like a little more clarification on. On 1.1.9, we talk about training culturally, doing some cultural responsive training. So I'd like to see, unless I'm missing it, if we could add some bias training specifically into that cultural training and get a good idea of what that would look like. Also under 2.1.5, when we're talking about some restorative discipline, there's an acronym for PBIS. I'd like to know what PBIS is and what that kind of stands for. Also, when we're talking about recruiting more diversity, there's 3.1.13, and we talk about getting rid of some antiquated qualifications in our hiring process. I'd like to know what those antiquated qualifications might look like so we can have a better discussion about that. Also, when I'm looking at 1.2.11, that's pretty much the only thing I see revolved around our gifted students, and I have a lot of concerns and questions about our gifted program, specifically that some of the earlier grades aren't getting gifted in ELA, it's only in math, and just making sure that we're being comprehensive and supporting our little gifted students. Also, I noticed that we look at 3.1.3, we have accountability for the achievement gaps slowly being tied to teacher evaluations, and I'd like to make sure that we're having much larger conversation about the achievement gap, so it's not solely just falling on the shoulders of our teachers to be responsible for that. Also, some things I'd just like to see in general is I'd like to see, when we're talking about our socioeconomically disadvantaged students, what's the trigger for that? Is that students within poverty line? Like, how are we identifying that, and what does that look like, so we can have a further conversation about that? I'd also like to say that one of the things I haven't seen in this was really a conversation about early literacy, whether or not we're talking about identifying our early literacy programs, our early education programs, having some standardization to make sure students come to first grade in a benchmark to be prepared. And also, are we retaining in those early grades? Because I'm getting feedback from teachers that we don't do retention in early grades, and that by the time they get to 4th or 5th grade, they might have already missed that, that literacy benchmark that we need to talk about. So I really want to see a focus on early childhood education. And then finally, I'm just curious if, CTA, I know we had a whole list of people that we said thank you to at the end, that thank you so much for contributing to this, because this is really good stuff. But was CTA part of that process? And are their voices included in that? So thank you.
Thank you for that feedback, and I've been taking notes. Yes, CTA, we Daniela Simic and Terry Connor's shop reached out to CTA early.
Okay.
And so several of the teachers that you see that are listed in the back of the slide deck, those were teachers that were directly recommended to be part of this process. Thank you.
And we recognize, Member Vaughn, there are many factors that you mentioned on the implicit bias that is going to be covered in 3.21 on page 6. And on the expanded gifted, where we do need much more filtering for the Hispanics who are not getting filtered for whether they're gifted or not, that's on 1.2.11. So that would fall under that. But that just goes to tell all of us that we have to spend a lot more time on these details, because there's a lot you're all going to do. You're covering every nook and cranny, but still, there's the devil's in the details and the timeline. Member Hahn.
Thank you. So I would certainly agree about the pre-K early childhood literacy. I should say early childhood literacy. I was looking through here, and I'm hopeful that at our next workshop, when we focus on literacy and the literacy audit, that we can talk a little deeper about how we're meeting, what we're doing in that space. But it would be nice to see it more robust, since it is, it is one of the areas of focus. If it was just addressed a little bit deeper in the action steps and goals. Also, with the teacher workforce, I want to make sure that, I've had some really wonderful conversations with Miss Vera Tirado around diversifying our teacher workforce. And just rest assured, she does have some goals and action steps that she is currently working on in regard to both short-term solutions, immediate recruitment, and long-term solutions. And we discussed teacher academies and the implications that can have for diversifying our workforce, with intentional steps around working with historically Black universities and colleges, as well as connecting locally with the Migrant Center at USF College of Education, which intentionally funds students who are from migrant families in our own community, funds them to pursue a college degree in teacher education. So a lot of people, that's kind of a little hidden secret, a little hidden gem in our community, but I've worked with them during my long career at USF and the College of Ed, and they'll be a great resource in helping us recruit and create a more diverse workforce. So those are some things that I think, if you haven't had an opportunity to speak with her, she's doing some wonderful work in that area. Because as it is important to see the diversity in our high-level positions. For me, as a lifelong teacher, public school teacher, someone who's worked for the majority of my career preparing future teachers, I think, the focus should be diversifying our teacher workforce. And so I'm really happy about the work. Thank you for the work that you're doing. Going back to this document that lists the different strategic initiatives, if maybe we added a funding column and identified how some of these things are going to be funded, because not everything comes out of our general fund. I know for some of these, they're coming out of, different dollars that don't impact the general fund. So that might alleviate some concerns around, oh my gosh, how are we funding this given our financial situation right now? It would help board members as well as the public understand that. I would like to just quickly end by talking about my input on next steps around the strategic plan. And when I was a new board member, it was a wonderful experience during sometime along those first 6 months. We had a 2-day retreat with board members and staff that was specifically around the strategic plan. I think I would encourage the board chair to look into maybe speaking with the superintendent about doing a 2-day retreat where we can do an all-day deep dive. We break into groups, we identify our priorities, we really give a lot of input on this, not just talking about it at a workshop for 2 hours and then having it come to a board meeting. But I think I think out of respect for new board members, but out of respect for all board members, we need to have that level of input because, we need more time. It's obvious, and it's a lot of information. I will be bringing this to the CAC committee. I'm the school board member who's speaking at the next meeting, early March, and I had been on their agenda to bring a strategic plan discussion to that group for community input. So I'll be sharing these documents this week, probably later today, once I get them electronically, with our CAC representatives. And I encourage all of you to join. It's on Zoom. Anybody out in the community, you don't have to be a member of the CAC to join. You can hop on Zoom and provide input. And so, again, I think this is an enormous amount of work you all put into this document. Thank you so much. And I'm really looking forward to continuing the work around this as a board and staff and with the superintendent. And I think, again, thank you. It was an awful lot of work, obviously, that you put into this. I appreciate everyone's time today.
And Member Hahn and Member Snively, those suggestions I'm writing down because this strategic plan obviously shapes our district and does move forward our hiring and our educational trajectory. I would entertain for sure a retreat, and we can call it a different name, but at any rate, I'm definitely open to that. I'm also listening to Member Snively and Hahn about having not only the strategies, the action plan and timeline, but matching it to the funding. I think that's really important. So perhaps a visual column type apparatus would be very helpful. And I appreciate that remark. I'm going to go ahead at this time with Member Perez. It looks like we're finishing up, and I would not want to miss Mr. Connor's last part of his. Yeah, it's the goals. Okay. And community partnerships. Okay, I'm being edited. Okay, Member Perez, thanks for your patience.
Yeah, thank you, Member Gray. So for Member Snively's question, Ana G. Mendez, it's a Hispanic university that we have here in the Tampa Bay area, and we're very blessed to have them here, as they have bilingual students, traditionally Hispanic students there, and they offer the bachelor's, master's, even doctoral degrees in that university. So we could even partner with them as far as looking for leadership that look like our students. And, when we look at the demographics of our students and the demographics, like Member Cohn said, that they don't compare. And we really need to work on this. Second is when I'm looking at this strategic plan, superintendent, we're looking at a year. Well, now going into a second year of a very different look, not just for Hillsborough County, but for our nation. Where do you separate what's happening today to once we get out of this, and hopefully we'll get out of this, to a strategic plan moving forward from this pandemic? Because we know that this pandemic has majorly affected our students and their learning process. So when do we find out, how do you separate the strategic plan for going forward, especially for graduation for our students during this time, and going forward after we get finished with this pandemic?
Through the chair, I think that right now the goals that we have established in this proposal allows us to drive through the current now situation that we're in, and also drive through the pandemic when we get on the other side of the pandemic. I think they were thoughtfully developed to be able to address any potential training that for our students related to cultural biases, to be able to make certain that we celebrate rich diversity. It also gives us a really good initiative to address learning losses in any particular area and subgroup, to be very intentional. Allows us to be very clear about how we leverage particular dollars to expand learning opportunities, and then really create a safe place with equity, supportive culture in our schools as well. Mr. Connor or Monica?
Yeah, that's a great point, Ms. Perez. I would say when we get this year's data at the end of the year, our state assessment data, that will really give us a foundation of what has been happening over the last year and a half for our students. And I would say we can't separate our strategic plan from this pandemic. It's happened to us. There's some real major effects that have happened to us, and we have got to be strategic about how to overcome that within this plan.
Pablo, could you put another minute on the clock for Ms. Perez, because they kind of ate up that much time with their answers, and I just want to be fair to her. It's fine. It's fine. I just want to give her minute back. That's all. If that's okay with Ms. Perez.
She's on mute.
That would help. Our leadership conversation has taken place over many, many years. So in your plan, how, moving forward, when does this turn from a conversation to something that's going to take place? Like Member Washington and Member Combs both have said, we need to see that shift soon, sooner than later. But when do you see that shift coming about?
Yes, Mr. the Chair. It started in March. I mean, openly last March, and we have worked to address areas of need to improve, to use the great foundation that is built to be able to expand. But every single day, we're chipping away to make certain that we address any potential learning divides, any initial professional development or supports, building capacity with laser focus for administration, and making certain that we are focused on a culture of support from the district level to the school-based level. Openly, we got to continue to get better with engaging our community to understand what we're trying to accomplish, to understand that they are our first educators, and give them resources to help to reinforce literacy, to reinforce fluency with math at their homes, and for them to continue to have a voice about what's working, what's not, and what we can do differently. So we have started every single day. This plan is ready to turnkey, as soon as the board says, that we feel comfortable with it. But along the way, we're building a foundation to be able to hit some of these initiatives so that when we are ready to launch to our community, and I'll go do listen and learns in the communities to talk about strategic plan, that we hit the ground running.
Thank you, Member Perez. And we're going to go ahead because time is really running out. I just wanted to finalize just a few things. Board members, I know, Member Snivelin, let me just ask you, would you want to indulge to get your answer from Mr. Connor for Objective 2 for that he didn't finish, and I know that there are some board members that need to leave.
I will work with you one-on-one to get the information for that. I think we will. I know we'll continue to have conversations, and this is going to. And I hope we do have a a longer amount of time if we do a retreat, 2-day retreat, or whatever it is that you want to do, Madam Chair. I think that would be a great idea, and then we could get more of a deep dive into some of those things. So, thank you.
And I think, thanks, Member Snively. I think what we're looking at is probably a half day, more, tuned in. Which is always a good thing. It can never hurt. The more communication and the more we hear from our board members, the better off we'll all be. And it's very important. Black leadership, Hispanic leadership. You mentioned that. We have black men leadership groups with Kevin McDonald just, but we need to do a lot more. Dr. Vera Tirado has been working, since March. We all have been on her committee. She has an audit. She wants to share that as well, the results, the findings, so much that's going to change the trajectory to Superintendent Davis, a premier school district, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
That's what we're looking at, and one that matches the demographics of our student population, and that is critical. So I want to thank, and I know we all as board members continue to appreciate each of your time, your hard work, your 24/7 diligence to all the details, but we didn't want to forget the teacher morale and support. Are we, Superintendent, doing everything we can to support our teachers and their morale? And I mean every opportunity, because I hear your voice saying teachers are working hard. But we have to make sure that we're paying attention and keep the eye on the ball, which affects the lives of our children that we are engaging with. Would
Yes,
you
ma'am.
remark on that?
I have to tell you is that, teachers have done the impossible this year. They have been dealing with so much, whether it be changing of courses, changes of classes to make sure we, at end of September, beginning of October, to address any budget downfalls we may have experienced, relocating from school to school, a number of new initiatives that we've asked them to implement, all for the best of interest of students. We know it was a lot on top of them right now, and especially during the pandemic. But openly, the biggest thing we can do is continue to support them in that process, and then transition to next year with really having nothing new, but really going deeper into that work. For us, we know that not only here but throughout the state and nation, it's not a healthy place in school districts. It's from e-learning to simultaneous to extended learning to students who don't have the foundationals. It's everywhere, and then you couple that on with some financial hardships in the pandemic, and it becomes very difficult to be in this profession. And I acknowledge that, and we're trying every single day to get around that. And we have openly, some tough times ahead of us. And until we get through what we have to accomplish financially, then you'll start to see the uptick of overall movement with morale, because everyone will understand their placement. We'll do deeper, we'll just go deeper in supports and nothing new for the following 21-22 school year. But it's always on our mind, always in a conversational piece about how we can further support. And tonight during my STAC meeting, we're going to look at what we could potentially selectively abandon. Looking at, we have a lot of supplement materials out there, a lot of content, what's working, what's not, and what we can do differently.
So important, and we are reminded, Ms. Monica Vera Tirado and staff work with the CTA all through this entire process. Thank you, Member Vaughn, for sharing that importance for the teacher morale and support. I believe Member Hahn wants to speak.
Thank you. I'll make it quick. I know we're here till 11:30, right?
Well, we have some board members that might have to leave.
Oh,
so.
okay. Well, we didn't get to go over partnerships. That was one piece that we've run out of time. And I'm looking through the list, and these are all great committees and certainly stakeholders that have a vested interest in what we're doing. But what I see missing from this list, as I look through it quickly, are some of our partnership organizations, Children's Board, Frameworks, Positive Coaching Alliance, Early Learning Coalition. I'm not seeing that anywhere here, as well as our business community. And so I would hate for those folks to be overlooked, because they do so much to support our programs and our students. in our schools, and yet I really don't see them represented anywhere in any of these. It's committee after committee, but there's a lot of resources that these organizations give us, and I think there needs to be a cross-reference over our strategic plan, a mapping, to see how we're using those resources to meet our goals and objectives of our strategic plan. And so that there's not this over duplication of effort, and our resources, we want to make sure our resources are being used to move the needle for our district. So they need to be part of the conversation as well. Thank you.
And I would invite each board member who you're serving on some of these committees to feel free to give it to Miss Monica Vera Tirado. So, so you can add to it. I mean, the Children's Board, I'm on it, and HEF, and certainly the Chamber of Frameworks with Carolyn Brickemeyer. Yeah, so we have a lot. So we'll make sure as you think about it, board members, just share it with Ms. Vera Tirado. So at this point in time, I think we have places to go and people to see. Thank you, board members, for engaging, and thank you, staff, for everything that you do every day. And we're all going to learn together, and with teamwork with this board, we are going to embrace the world of diversity and equity. Thank you.